Added with Fresh Mark Sense, another fresh review. Today I'll be looking at Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. Completely different from the original Tom Ford Noir, which is a dark chocolate, truffle and leather mix. This is a more gourmand, sweet cardamom saffron opening, middle notes of orange blossom, rose and pistachio kulfi. The base notes have sandalwood and a smooth amber note, so I feel this is great for summer, but let's get into it. There are two things that I noticed. This is a great scent for summer and fall, but I also noticed that it's a linear scent too, because I sprayed it about 30 minutes earlier once on this hand, and I get a very similar scent to the opening. At the opening notes, they all sort of come as a melange of one linear pattern. It doesn't really change too much throughout the dry down of the perfume. What I get from the opening is a very sweet saffron and cardamom mix. The neroli is uplifting. The middle notes comprise of pistachio kulfi, and that adds a very creamy note to it. The creaminess of the pistachio ice cream mixed with the nuttiness, the sweet nuttiness of pistachio, is very interesting when mixed with the rose. The rose note is actually a pink rose, more of like a Turkish delight kind of rose. It's not too jammy in that like purple flowers, or not too sweet. It does have a sweetness, but it's almost a candied sweetness. But I find that it's actually very wearable. Although it's very sweet, it's still wearable because the ice cream note of the kulfi sort of rounds off the overall sweetness, as to not sort of punch out in a too cloying way, let's say. So moving on to the base notes, I'm gonna spray this because I'm gonna spray it straight after I get into the base notes. What I'm getting after half an hour, I'm getting a very creamy saffron, creamy cardamom and a little bit of saffron. You still get the feel of ice cream, almost as if it's melted in the sun, and you still get that syrupy mix of the cardamom and the sweetness of the ice cream in a little syrup. When you smell that, it resembles the mix of all of these together, but not in an unpleasant or sticky way as is the original product. So not much difference from the beginning and the end of the scent. So it holds all of its notes. So I'm going to try spraying it one more time on my arm to see if I get something different with the refreshed scent. If I was to, say, overspray 3 sprays on one arm. Definitely the opening, if you were to overpower it, you get the cardamom in a boost. Powdery, very sweet cardamom, very sweet cardamom. In terms of aromatic, the aromatic sweetness, the green sweetness is there, but you wouldn't really get the darker nuances of cardamom, like the skin or anything. Nothing raw about it. Very, just a sweet herb, just a sweet aromatic notes of it, with the saffron, and it's always that creaminess of the pistachio ice cream that catches me. It's almost as if that with the vanilla adds a double dose of vanilla. And you can really smell the pistachio nut, like it's crumbled, because it has dark facets and it has sweet facets, which is very interesting. Almost as if there's large chunks and small chunks, like it's crumbled. And that is how it is in the Indian ice cream of kulfi ice cream, which is a natural. You just get the cream of the milk, and you mix it with the nuts. It's just a blend, really. It's just a blended ice cream with no additives. So you really get that creaminess of the ice cream mixed with the nuts. But I love how you get almost big pieces and small pieces, because the cardamom in the beginning, it just comes off the sweetness of it, but later on the more green aspects come through the middle in the strongest part of the scent. But in the dry down, you don't get the cardamom as not much, you don't get as much, but you get the sweetness, and you get more creaminess from the sandalwood and amber. And this mixes beautifully. The amber and the dry down of the sweet cardamom mixed with sandalwood is very comforting. Fantastic. I would say I do have scents with similar notes. I'd say the oud. Oh no, I don't have the oud. Oud vanilla, sorry. Oud vanilla has similar notes, but the floral notes set it apart and make it a bit more resinous. Yet this is more light-hearted and gourmand, but it can be worn on a special occasion, a festive occasion. I'd actually think, I'm surprised nobody has ever worn this on Eid. I mean, if you have worn it on Eid, good on you, because you've got the festive mood right, because it's literally, Christmas has got figs and all those other more Eastern or European ingredients, but Eid would have the cardamom from, you know, the barfi sweet, and the kulfi, which is celebratory, we eat the ice cream, and the saffron from the Indian sweets. And this is literally Eid in a bottle, but London Eid. So I was just thinking it's great, because in the beginning of my tailoring journey, I done a tailoring course, and I went through the motions, and I really enjoyed the course. And the reason why I joined it is because I wanted to mix my love for English tailoring and the idea of a very, very sort of, they got all the morals right, and the shape of their jackets and everything. They got the outline right, but to add some Indian color. So to have a Western clothing and adding Indian color, and that was generally the idea. So I was very interested by this scent, that it was a Western brand called Tom Ford, but it's very Indian inspired, and just to see what would be taken out of the culture as sort of the highlights of the festive season, and it really does encapsulate Eid very well. So I find this a fantastic perfume if you want to have an experience of an Eastern festive scent. This is very interesting, because you have many Western festive scents which are Christmassy, and you sort of get that pine and fresh, and people get bored of it after a while. But to have an Eastern festive scent that you can actually wear in the summer means that, wow, I don't celebrate Eid, but I'm feeling like celebrating now or something, you know, in the summer. So I'm just going to spray this on, and let's see what happens. Oh, wow. I'm already imagining my mum in the kitchen making some pakora or something. Wow, I've just entered the sweetest kitchen. Wow. And I know nobody's bothered to make a whole tray at home of burfi, but if you are, I'm definitely coming into that celebration. I'll be eating all of that burfi, because I'll be feeling festive with this scent. This is, wow. This is definitely Eid in a bottle. And it's London Eid. It's a kind of, you're wearing your best suit, your best clothing. Yeah, you're eating things that you haven't eaten before, or you're going out to a place that you never had before, just on the last minute, just because nobody else had a plan, but for some reason it's the best plan because it's right off the cusp. So it's a very unusual, it will throw you off a little bit, and it'll be like, what is that smell? Really, it will be like, where is that syrupy sweetness coming from? And then you might fight it a little bit and be like, oh, I don't like this last minute plan. But at the end, when it comes together, you'll be like, wow, that dry down, that was worth it. And it was a great fragrance experience. So this is Eid in a bottle. This reminds me of Eid. just because of its Eastern influences in a Western sort of fragrance. Let's just say, fantastic, festive, sweet, great cardamom scent. If you're looking for something for formal occasions, I think this will be too much of a, you'll feel like Little John at a board meeting. Little John, you'll be like, yeah, he's just screaming something out, and everybody be like, excuse me, we're at a funeral. It's just like, it's just, so you don't want to wear this at too formal events, because you'll be screaming out, and it does project. I'm feeling that it has already filled this room, and I've got the windows open, so I don't know what that even means. This is something, I mean, in the beginning it does project. I can imagine later on, like a Tom Ford fragrance, it would sit a bit closer to the skin, sort of like a half an arm's width, but I still need to test it to see how the ciliage and scent trail is and longevity. But at this rate, it would probably go for about 9 hours on the skin and project for 6 hours confidently, because this is it just filled the room. I mean, I'm loving the sweetness of it. So check it out, guys, if you want something gourmand for your celebratory events. I got lost in the fragrance. I've already talked about it so much because I'm heading down memory lane every time I smell it. Great for festive events. Check out the 100ml bottle, because don't get ripped off by the smaller bottles, or get a sample. So check it out, guys. Tom Ford Noir Extreme. Stay fresh, guys. Take care.